Hey class, welcome back to another week of school. I'm here again at the school, and for some reason today I am really missing you guys and feeling a little bit sad today about the fact that we're not going to see each other again until next year. So I'm glad that you guys are still here online, that we can connect this way, and that can help get us through some of our hard times. So with that being said, it is time to start our writer's workshop for this week. So we are on to lesson 7, I think. We're in week 7. And today we're going to continue talking about our opinions about books, and we're going to continue writing letters to teach about our opinions. But the main point of today's lesson is about how, as writers, we think about the audience. Okay, so what does the word audience mean? Well, an audience is who is taking in something you have created. So there could be an audience at a movie theater. Those would be the people watching the movie, which was created by someone. There can be an audience for a concert. So they're taking in or watching and listening to the thing that has been created, the music. So as writers, we also have an audience. We create a piece of writing, and then someone takes that in, the person we wrote it to. So we need to think about our audience or think about our reader in order to make the writing interesting to them. So I would not write to you, a grade 2 student, the same way I might write to Mrs. Slava, who is an adult and also a teacher. So that's what we call thinking about your audience or thinking about your reader. And that's what today's lesson is all about. So, I want you to be thinking about your audience. So again, we're talking about how writers write for a reason. So we don't just write without purpose, okay? We're always writing for a reason. Let's say a fictional story would be to entertain. A letter, the point of a letter or the reason for a letter is to inform, to give information. The point of, let's say, a poem might be to express feelings. So there's always a reason. And as we become better at writing, we can think about that reason. Why am I writing this particular thing? Okay? And then now the next step is to imagine who will be reading this. So if you have been writing your letters, dear reader or dear grade 2, I want you to start writing your letters to a specific person, because I want you to imagine, what do they know and what do they want to know? So your grandma is going to have a very different opinion than, let's say, someone in your class. So you need to think about who is going to read it. And the reason you need to think about that is because you need to make choices with them in mind. Okay, so things you might want to consider are, have they read this book? Okay, so if someone has read the book that you're talking about, you don't need to describe it as much as if it's someone who hasn't read the book. If they haven't read the book, you need to tell them what happens so that they can follow what you're saying. And the next thing you have to, which I'm just saying, is how much should I explain? So if you are talking to someone who has also read the book and you're being overly explaining things, if you're giving way too much detail, that's boring to the reader. The reader might think, yeah, I know that happens. I already read the book. On the other hand, if you're writing to someone who hasn't read the book and you're not giving enough detail, they'll be confused. They'll wonder, what do you mean that I don't know what happened? That doesn't make sense to me. So that's where you get to use your thinking brains as a writer and think about, who are you writing for? So let's see what this might look like. So I have written a letter to Miss El-Shufi about Thelma the Unicorn. So that's the review that I wrote last week. And I talked about how the parts that I liked about this book. Well, now I'm going to write to Miss El-Shufi, and let me read you the letter. Dear Miss El-Shufi, you should read Thelma the Unicorn. My favorite part is when Thelma goes home at the end. It is so true that being yourself is the only way to be happy. Otis is a great character. We all deserve a friend like him. Don't you think? Love, Mrs. Roy. Now, I want you to think for a second. Did that letter make sense to you? If that letter made sense to you, it's probably because you know what happens in Thelma and the Unicorn. Now, there's a problem. Miss El-Shufy has not read Thelma the Unicorn. So she's going to be very confused about my letter. I don't tell her what happens at the end. So she's going to be wondering, well, what are you talking about? So I think I should rewrite this letter so that it makes sense to Miss El-Shufy. So the first thing I want to do, as I'm thinking about my reader, is I want to get them interested. If they haven't read this book before, I want to make it sound so good that they go out and read this book right away. The second thing I want to keep in mind is that I should retell the interesting parts. Notice it says interesting. I'm not retelling everything that happens in the book. I'm retelling the interesting parts. We'll get back to that one in a minute. Include details the reader will enjoy. Again, think about, will your grandma think that in Captain Underpants, the jokes about farting, will she think those are funny? Probably not. So you might want to talk to her about something different. But if you're writing to, let's say, someone else in the class, they might think that's really funny. So you have to think, what parts will they enjoy? And then the one I want you guys to work on, if you're ready for this is a little bit trickier, is to not give away the ending. So if you're writing a letter to someone, telling them they should read a book, you don't want to give away the ending. That'd be like if I went and saw a movie you really wanted to see, and then I came back to you and I said, oh, what a great movie, you have to go see it. The dog dies at the end, and you would be thinking, what? Why did you tell me that? I didn't even get to see the show and you wrecked it for me. So we're gonna practice not giving away the ending, if you're ready for it. So, fixing my letter. I, of course, start with the date, May 11th, 2020. All right. Dear Ms. El-Shufy. All right, so I'm going to keep that first line the same. You should read Thelma the Unicorn. But now she might be wondering, well, why should I read it? What's interesting about that? Or maybe what's the book even about? So I'm going to give her one sentence to say what the book is about. I'm going to say, it is a cute book about a pony who wants to be a beloved unicorn. Now you might notice I use this word beloved. If I was writing to you guys, I probably wouldn't use that word, because you might think, well, what does that mean? But I know that Miss El-Shufy knows what that word means, so I'm thinking about my reader. So I've told her a bit of what's it about. Now I'm going to talk to her about my favorite part. So I'm going to say, my favorite part is the end. Now watch what I do here. Thelma learns an important lesson, but I don't want to tell her what happened, so I'm going to do this. ... We've talked about that in class before. It's called an ellipses, and it's like a pause or a way of fading off your sentence. And now after that, I'm going to say, but don't take my word for it. Read it yourself. Okay, so I'm not telling her what the end is there. I've said, don't take my word for it, read it yourself. I could also say, so I'm saying Thelma learns an important lesson, but I won't say any more, period. I don't want to spoil the end for you. Okay, so I gave you 2 examples there of how to talk about the ending without ruining the ending for your reader. Okay, so the next thing I talk about is how Otis is such a great character. So I'm going to say, the character Otis is amazing. Now, in my original letter, I didn't talk at all about Otis. But now that I'm thinking of my reader, I know that Miss El-Shufy doesn't know anything about Otis. So I can't just say he's a great character. I want to make sure that I give details. And so I'm going to explain why is Otis such a great character. The character Otis is amazing. Okay, I'm going to erase this just so I can keep writing from the top. But you would just, of course, keep writing on your paper. So I said the character Otis is amazing. He is a great friend to Thelma. Okay, I've said why, now I need to give details. No matter what she is going through, Otis is there for her. So I said a little bit of why that character is so great. I'm giving good details. But you know what? I've retold a little bit of the interesting part, but now, why will Miss El-Shufy care about that? What could I say that will help her understand why that's important or why that's interesting? So no matter what she's going through, Otis is there for her. And so I might think it is a nice portrayal of true friendship. Someone who loves you just the way you are. Okay, so I've thought about why would Miss El-Shufy care about this? Why is that interesting? And I know, you know what, me and Miss El-Shufy have a lot in common. We're both adults, we're both teachers. And so the reason that I like it is pretty similar to the reason that I think she will like it. So I'm going to describe more about that. So I said, it is a nice portrayal of true friendship. Someone who loves you just the way you are. And that might make her think, wow, I wonder what he does that's so wonderful to his friend. That might make her interested in reading the rest of the book. So let's see what we have left. We all deserve a friend like him, don't you think? I've kind of summarized that in a better way. And now it's time to end my letter. So let me check if I've done everything. Have I tried to get them interested? Yes. Have I retold interesting parts? A little bit. Have I made sure I don't give away the ending? Yes. And have I included details the reader will enjoy? I think so. So now it's time to end my book. So let's say I silly parts. And your heart will smile at the ending. Or I'm going to say at the message of the book. You will laugh at this. I think you will laugh at the silly parts, and your heart will smile at the message. Go check this book out today. And now I'm going to sign the book, love, or the letter, sorry, your friend, Mrs. Roy. And the reason that I signed it that way, it's a reference to the book. So at the end, she is thinking about how she would like to see her lovely friend Otis. And so it ends with her friendship. And so I've signed it, your friend, Miss Roy. All right, so I want to just quickly remind you guys what it is that you're going to be doing as you write this letter. So you're going to continue writing a letter to somebody. You're going to continue writing about a book. And if you would like to write about the same book as last week, that's fine, but I'd prefer if you wrote about a different book. If you do write about the same book, you need to change who you write it to. Okay, so today I want you to practice thinking about your reader. And so you're going to do that by getting them interested in the book, retelling interesting parts, making sure you don't give away the ending. Try using that ellipses, ... And of course, by including details the reader will enjoy. So that means your letters this week need to be addressed to a specific person. So you, it's not enough to write dear reader or dear class. There needs to be a name in there, okay? And lots of you guys are doing that already, so this shouldn't be too much of a stretch for you guys. I'm excited to read your letters. You guys have been doing a really good job. I'm actually really impressed to see that you guys are really pushing yourself. Remember, we're talking about the only way to really be learning is to be pushing. It should be a little bit hard or a little bit uncomfortable. So if you're able to just sit and kind of write your letter quickly, I would ask, can you push yourself a bit more than that? Can you say like, oh, what else could I include? If Miss Roy were here and she told me to add more, what would I add? Think about that and see if that helps you to kind of encourage yourself to do a little bit better. But other than that, you guys are doing such a great job. I'm so happy to be connected to you online. I hope that this video was clear, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the rest of the videos for this week.